This month, true crime takes center stage as Madison Opera presents the world premiere of Everlasting Fate by Madison composer Scott Gendel. Based on the true story of the 1897 Greenbrier ghost, Everlasting Fate is a ghost story, a thrilling drama, and an all-American opera. Don't miss your chance to see it on February 13th and 15th in the Capitol Theater. Tickets at madisonopera.org. Want to win the Madison Summer Camp Rush? Behold Wonder Palette Camp. The local creative art camp in Middleton at Sauk Trail Elementary is open for registration. Campers ages 6 to 12 will find an energetic and supportive environment to explore their creative passions. They offer 4 separate weeks of camp, each unique, and each week has 4 days of fun in the culinary arts, arts and crafts, theater, and dance. Register today at wonderpaletecamp.com. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Today on CityCast Madison. It's Thursday, so of course it's time to dish on Madison's food and bar scene. A relatively new to Madison bar is once again getting national attention. Public Parking on East Johnson, which opened back at the end of 2024, was just named a James Beard Awards semifinalist for Best New Bar. So what in the glory is going on over there? What's their secret sauce? To get you in the know, we're bringing back my conversation with Public Parking co-owner J.R. Mokanu, where we talk all about the bar's concept and what might be fueling this early success. Hi, JR.
Hi, Bianca. How's it going?
It's going well. This is a real treat. I've been looking forward to having you on the show and talking with you. You're a great old friend, so thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I'm glad to finally connect like this. You know, it's been a minute, but now I'm not so busy. I actually have some time.
Yeah, we tried to get you on in the beginning, but there was truly so much to be done. And we're going to talk about that, like the work of starting a bar. But for folks who haven't been to Public Parking, let's just set the scene. How would you describe your new spot on East Johnson?
It's kind of like a place for everybody. You know, it's like you can come in and get a fancy cocktail, or you can, chill out and have a beer and a shot, or good glass of wine. And it's not like one style of bar. It's meant to encompass everything, kind of come as you are, drink whatever you want, let's hang out. That's, I guess, the best way to put it.
A place for everyone.
Yeah
And I think that has something to do with the name, right? Public Parking. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the idea behind it. To be honest, we went through 400 different names. It's so hard choosing a name. And honestly, we were just kind of sitting on the patio of Maduro one night. And I was with a few other bar owners in the neighborhood. And we were just talking about our bar names. And I was like, guys, I really don't want to talk about this anymore. And there's a public parking sign across the street. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to steal that sign. I'm going to put it in front of my door, and I'm going to call it Public Parking. And everyone kind of loved it, and it just stuck. That's honestly the truth. That's how it happened.
I was a little bit out of exhaustion, okay. I know exactly. There's that public parking structure right across from Maduro there.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you just briefly talk about the space itself? Because I think it's special where there is this range. The last Super Bowl, I was able to run over and watch the Kendrick Lamar performance with you guys. But there's really lots of different vibes.
You have your little lounge area, and then obviously when you walk in, it's that big bar. I want people to feel like they're at a bar, but also I used all the wood and the green and browns and reds just to make people feel comfortable. Because again, this is Wisconsin, and us Wisconsinites love to feel comfortable in a bar. It's not too flashy. That's why I used all the wood. Kind of makes you feel like you're at a lodge, as we all grew up with.
Well, JR, you're a bar and restaurant scene industry veteran. Starting right here in Madison, you and I worked together way back when at Merchant Downtown, back in the early 2010s, where you were the bar manager and you were teaching folks how to make a cocktail, before it was cool. And that really became a spot to be. And you've had many adventures, successful ventures. You went out to Austin, Texas, expand your skills and led successful bar programs there. Why come back to Madison and open a bar?
Well, it was kind of two things, I guess. I guess I got a little homesick. And, my mom is here and, she's getting a little older. So she was like, can you just come back home? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to come back home, come back to Wisconsin. I kind of miss it. And just decided to open a bar and kind of plant my roots here again. Which, don't get me wrong, I love Texas. It was a fun time, but something about coming home feels right.
I'm with you. I came home to be closer to family. It's quite the pull. And your mom's pretty legendary.
Yeah, she's something else.
Yes, we love her. So, I know you're a humble person, JR, I'm putting you on this spot, but public parking, saying that y'all have made a splash in your first year feels like kind of underselling it. You've really received a number of recognitions already. Can you share what some of those are that you've gotten just in your first year?
We got a few best new bars in the country. The Bon Appetit magazine named us one of the best new bars. The Punch magazine named us one of the best new bars. Imbibe did the same thing. We won the Bitter Cube Milwaukee versus Madison bartending competition thing. It's not, me, it's my staff where they're I could not have done any of this without Lucas and the Jens and my whole staff. I'm not going to name off everybody right now.
Erica,
and all that. Without their hard work, none of this would have happened. So kudos to them, honestly, because I feel bad sometimes. I make them work a little too much. They're killing it though, and I couldn't be happier.
Well, it is quite a feat to open a bar and receive the sort of success that you all have. So, there's the fun to it. And there is a lot of effort that goes into getting the details right. Like those publications you mentioned, that event with Bittercube, they're major for your industry. Those are the, top folks you want to be recognized by. I remember when you were launching, how much thought you put into who was going to be there. Just want to double tap just how great your staff is, all the people that you mentioned and the experiences with them. And note on a little bit the effort and what went into opening the bar, because I think from an outside perspective, your work as bartenders, it seems all fun, but we know that the service industry is serious work. It's a lot of long hours, human interaction, a lot of unknowns, not to mention actually launching a bar. What did it take to take this off the ground and get to the success? Obviously a good team, you said.
Yeah, that and a lot of rich people's money.
Facts.
That's the thing. It's building a spot is not cheap and it's a lot of hours. So why I'm so proud of this team right now is before we even opened, right? Me and Jack probably spent almost a whole year designing and figuring out this concept. My partner, Jack.
Jack, yep, right.
Yep. So before we even opened our doors, we were working on it for a whole year, and then once you're actually in the door, it gets even crazier because now you're figuring out systems and okay, where do we put XYZ? Where do we put this? How is this going to be the most efficient? How is this going to look the most aesthetic? How is prep work going to look like, especially when we make our own vermouths and bitters and cordials and it's we have a team before we even open the doors at 4 p.m. We have a team in at 10 in the morning every day, just creating and batching and cooking to get ready for service for the night. It's a labor of love. It's a lot of work, sure, but we all love doing it.
Totally. Well, I know you're not going to talk on yourself, so I'm going to talk on you. A personal anecdote, you were talking about Maduro earlier. A previous bartender from there who has also worked at Papavro, Kevin Trottier, has an anecdote about you. Like back when you were 19, 20 years old, coming to Papavro, the restaurant downtown, the fantastic restaurant, like reading a huge thick book full of cocktail recipes and, you know, really taking the craft seriously and like because you were interested in it, but not in an annoying way, but like actually being curious and having not only the interest in taking it seriously, but like the aptitude to know what the difference is between something being a good cocktail, a great cocktail, and excellent, and like really taking the time to develop that palate. So it's just really exciting, you know, speaking for myself and so many that you came back and are putting your skills to work and building something in Madison. It's something lovely to see.
I'm honestly really happy to be back home. I forgot how much I missed it, I guess, you know. So it's good to be back in my hometown and helping out in the scene, especially the neighborhood. Like I love being next to like, you know, Caribou and Robin Room, and like we're all just doing things together. And I don't know. I just love being back.
Let's talk about the drinks. Like, let's talk about the bar and the drinks, because that's really, people are talking about your cocktails. You guys do some pretty inventive stuff on the menu. Who's coming up with the craft cocktail list?
So in the beginning, it was just me and Lucas, just so with our new team that we can start training them to, you know, do these cocktails. But now the whole team is going to be involved in the menu. So it's not just like one or two of us. And my favorite part is like what, you know, like the names that people come up with, which is like kind of the funniest thing about our menu.
Looking for a bucket list winter experience? Head to the Frozen Assets Run, Walk, and Festival. The event runs from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, February 7th, and brings true winter fun to the Edgewater and Frozen Lake Mendota. The celebration is a free, family-friendly, accessible winter extravaganza with fun on the ice, inside the Edgewater Hotel, and outside on the plaza. Plus, thanks to an accessible ramp from the pier to the ice, more people can take part in the magic of being out on the frozen lake. You can also join the Frozen Assets Run Walk. It's one of the only races in the world held entirely on a frozen lake. Proceeds from the Run Walk support Clean Lakes Alliance's work to protect and restore our lakes and inspire community stewardship. New this year, participants get a Frozen Assets stocking cap while supplies last. I heard they're really cute. Learn more and register today at cleanlakesalliance.org/frozen-assets. That's cleanlakesalliance.org/frozen-assets. Talking about the menu, like how often does the menu change, and do you have a favorite drink at the moment?
So the menu changes about like 9 times a year.
Yeah, that's a fair number of times to change, and also indicative of sort of the fun that you're having and allowing and the playfulness that you'll have in the space. Like, I'm pretty sure I had an opportunity to be there for the Great British Bake Off menu, and you guys kind of decorate accordingly. And so a lot of fun, you know, in addition to the drinks, y'all's glassware is kind of a riot in and of itself. So you have like the classic drinks and tumblers and martini glasses, but also serve drinks in teacups and glass-shaped butts and a moose face. Like it's diverse.
Yeah, I think we have now 22 like unique glasses.
Wow. Where does the inspiration come from?
It's honestly just like from like either movies or music or like just like to be honest, I feel like I'm kind of like stealing ideas from other people, because I just kind of like I'll see something cool in a movie or something like cool on like Instagram or TikTok, whatever. I'm like, oh shit, that would be perfect for here.
A good artist steals.
Yeah, you know, it's like who's original these days anymore, anyways, right?
Yeah, like finding inspiration where it strikes and really stepping into it. I am curious about the menu itself. Like, are there principles that you generally have for making a good, well-rounded cocktail list?
Whenever we start rewriting a menu, we always definitely make sure that there's at least like, you know, one vodka drink, couple gin drinks, couple rum drinks, couple tequila, et cetera, to make sure we have like the gamut of all the base spirits. And that's how we actually write our menu. So we're not like just a fully, only whiskey cocktails or gin cocktails. It's like we have like every base spirit covered. Because some people don't like tequila. Some people don't like bourbon. Some people love gin.
Variety of life, people are going to want different things, and then also like having these fun experiences. Do you think about the craft cocktails that you make like almost as if they're a part of the culinary scene? Because I feel like the level of craft and the ingredients that are being used like really feels like another level.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, we do make everything in house, so we do have a prep kitchen and we're actually cooking in the kitchen. So we don't just like get to show up on like a bar shift and everything's already done. It's like we have to, make everything.
I bring it up in part because we mentioned his name earlier, but your partner, Jack Yip, he's the owner of Red Sushi, Jackknife Sushi, and co-owner of Public Parking with you. And I wanted to bring him into the picture a little bit as well. Like, how did that collaboration come? And do you see any sort of like influences there and in terms of, your offerings?
How that came to be was he was a regular at Merchant back when we both worked there, and
Yeah.
remember when Red Sushi was on the King Street?
Yeah, so convenient.
So and I was a regular there, and then when I came back, he kind of was like, "You want to open up a bar?" And the way it works with him and I now, it's like we just because he's a food nerd and I'm a drink nerd, and it's just like we kind of just like partner up and talk about like different like flavor pairings and like it's like let's see what happens here. Is this gonna work? Is this not gonna work? Let's try it. And it's fun. I love Jack.
And you guys serve sushi. You serve a few food items, right?
Yeah, we serve jackknife every day until we run out.
Yeah, so you can get a little bit of eats on. We mentioned earlier you were written up in Bon Appetit earlier this year as one of the 9 best new bars in the country. Did you expect that sort of recognition right out of the gate in your first year? And what does that sort of thing do for a bar? Does it allow you to take bigger risks? How are you thinking about being recognized?
Well, it's a little scary and a little awesome at the same time, because now I feel like there's everyone's like kind of looking at us now, so like we really got to be on our fucking game. Use my French there, but I was not expecting it at all. I was not expecting Punch. I was not expecting Bon Appetit. Not expecting Vibe, especially like we're not even a big city. That was the craziest part about it. Like I don't even know how these people like heard about us. Like we're in Madison, and like we're a smaller town. We're not Chicago. We're not LA. We're not New York, And sometimes I feel like these smaller towns get overlooked. So it felt really great that they came out and saw us. Don't know who told them about us. I wish they would have gave me a heads up. They would literally send me an email about a month before the article came out. They're like, "Hey, we stopped in a few weeks ago and we're writing this article. We want some details." And they were like, "Don't say anything. Otherwise, we'll drop you." And I was like, okay. And then the article would just come out. And then I was like, well, here we go. So we would all wait like a month before we could say anything to anybody. But we never knew who these people were. Like none of us like know like, who was the person that we served that actually wrote up the article. Like they don't announce themselves. They just kind of show up, I guess.
That's kind of wild. So it could be anyone.
It could be anyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because you have had that kind of outside experience working a high caliber bar in Austin, a little bit of a bigger city, you've been, I know you've done pop-ups in New York City, you've done lots of different work in different bars. I'm interested in your insider and outsider take of when it comes to Madison's cocktail scene or bar scene, like what do you see that you're like, wow, Madison's getting this right? And what things do you think maybe we could use more of or less of for that matter?
The thing is like Madison is blowing up right now, just like, Austin 12 years ago, like Nashville, even like Boise, Idaho right now is blowing up. Like these smaller markets are becoming like real like cities. So with that comes a lot of talent and people who are happy to do the work for something unique. So like Madison has an amazing food scene. Like, Fairchild, are you kidding me? That's amazing. Ahan, amazing. Mintmark's great. I'm so sad to see Pig and a Fur Cocoa, but that was an institution. The list goes on. There's a lot of amazing places in this city. And like, I guess when you said if there's something I want to see more of is like good wine bars. Like I love like Table Wine and Square Wine Company, but I feel like people need to drink more wine. I love wine.
Yeah, I know there's a new one that opened recently over off of Regent Street. It's Glue Glue, which is, it kind of sounds like glug glug. It's onomatopoeia in French. And I know they're doing like jazz shows over there and trying to step it up in that space. So just want to shout them out. MJ's the owner. She's very lovely, but I'm right there with you. I love wine and I'd love to see some variation there.
When we first opened up, we did a very extensive by the bottle wine list, which I thought we would have served more of. And then we had to pivot because like, honestly, our sales are like 94% is cocktails off the menu. And I was not expecting that. Usually you get kind of a variation of like, some cocktails and like a bigger beer and some wine thing. I think that was the most surprising is we didn't sell much wine. Again, I want to go back to wine. I just love wine.
Yeah, I understand why that would be surprising. And I think that your space really has, like you said, it's there for everyone, but there is a lot of style and kind of some swank. I said there's some swanky places to sit and like have a date night and, meet up with your girls and have wine. So that is an interesting thing that you're experiencing around that.
Yeah.
JR, it was super appreciate you making the time. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
That was J.R. Mokanu, co-owner of Public Parking Bar. Public parking is certainly a top-notch, wonderful addition to Madison that I love. And you know what? I adore getting the opportunity to spread the word to you here on the podcast about places I and the team like going. If you think this podcast, like public parking, is also the bee's knees, cocktail pun intended, would you show us some love? Go review and rate CityCast Madison on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps other folks find the show. Also to note, if you're hungry for more coverage of public parking and our food scene, check out my recent conversation with Captime's food and culture editor, Lindsay Christians, about all the local spots and talent who got 2026 James Beard nods. That's all for today, here on CityCast Madison. I'm your host, Bianca Martin. If you enjoyed the show, why not share this episode with someone with fine taste and a fun sense of humor? Alrighty, we'll be back tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Until then, thanks for listening and take good care.